President of the Library Board, Marlene, some questions about the upcoming mill. So my first question is, what I've heard around town is, who owns the library building?
Currently, the library building is owned by the city. It was purchased by the city in 1974, I believe, for about $45,000 from St. John. This part of the library that we're sitting in right now, the addition on the building, was finished in 1979.
Well, I'm going to ask this question, but since it's that old, I think everybody would understand that why it needs repair.
The newest part of the building is 43 or 44 years old at this point, so it has the same type of issues that happen to older buildings. We've got problems with the HVAC system, the plumbing needs upgrading, we have an elevator that is in need of either repair or replacing. And those are pretty big expenses.
Yeah.
So.
And what point did you separate from the city as far as their responsibility to the library building?
Okay. I would go back and give a little bit of history. The library was established in 1963 as a library that was a separate entity from the city. But and somehow it happened, either gradually or maybe unintentionally, happened when the building was purchased. I'm not sure. But the city took over and turned the library into essentially a department of the city. And in 2014 or 15, when we hired our current director, she saw that things were not being done properly. And so we started the process of separating financially from the city. The last thing that needs to be taken care of now and settled is the dispensation of the building. We need to repair this building, do some extensive repairs on this building, and expand, because we're really short on space. Or we're going to need to move. One of the other things is going to have to happen.
And so the other question I'm hearing is this going to be a renewal millage or a first-time millage? And are you going to ask for this every other year?
That's a legitimate concern, yeah. So when the library was established in 1963 by a vote of the people, they gave us 1 mill in perpetuity. So that 1 mill we always have. But things have changed since 1963. There was no technology in the libraries and things like that. So not only have things become more expensive, but there's just a lot more that libraries are expected to provide now. This is the first millage increase that we have requested since 1963. And
so just say that again a little slower so that people hear that, because I think that's important. It's not like you have always had your hand out to the community. So.
No, it isn't. This is the first millage increase that we have requested since 1963, when the library was established. So what we're requesting now is 1 mill for 20 years, and about 3/4 of that will go toward building, taking care of the building, or purchasing a new building, or whatever we find needs to be done. And the other portion of it will go towards programming and technology. So the situation that has caused us to need this is the issues with the building. We're going to need to own our own building at this point. And the city owns this, so it's not.
So the city still owns this building.
The city still owns this building, right? Since Lorena has taken over and we have gotten control of our own finances here, Lorena has saved money every year out of our budget, and she has built up a nice fund balance for us, where we should be with our fund balance. Lorena is frugal. She's very good at managing money. So this is not something that's come from mismanagement or anything like that. It's just that things are more expensive and we now need to maintain a building.
Those costs never seem to go down, they always seem to go up, so I
And-
understand that.
And there's one more thing that I'd like to point out too, is that libraries in the state of Michigan are limited to 2 mills. So we would not be able to come back and ask for more, even if we needed it, but we won't. Lorena takes care of us very well.
That's good to know. And so the other question that I have heard is how much will the mill cost me in taxes? So let's just go to that. Because I know there's a lot we can talk about as far as the library, and I hope we'll touch on it toward the end of this, but let's talk about how much tax it will cost.
Okay. Well, I did some calculating. First, I went online to the city's website, and if you go there under the assessor's office, you can bring up your old tax bills and see what the mill, what cost you last year. And you can find out what the taxable value of your home is. So it's all based on taxable value. I did the calculations for myself. The taxable value of my home is listed at $52,935. So it's very easy to figure out 1 mil. You divide that taxable value by 1,000, or just leave the decimal place. 3 places to the left. So this 1 mil is going to cost me $52.94 annually. Yes. So I can't say how much it's going to cost any particular individual, but it's very easy to figure out.
Yeah, and they could come to the library to have somebody help them figure that out. That would be a person like me. But that's the other thing the library provides, the other service. And I feel like this service is of true value for our city, for our property taxes, that it is important for the value of my home as I go to sell it. To have a library in our community, I think it keeps our property values up.
That is true. One of the big advantages, and it's a real financial advantage to people, having a library in the community, is that it does increase property values. It makes the community a more desirable place to live. And I did look for some statistics, and I wasn't able to find anything that was specific to Michigan. But in general, I did find some interesting things here. For every dollar invested, depending on what part of the country you're in, you may get a $5 to $9 return on your investment from the library. It brings in more business, it brings people into your community, and it does increase your property values.
I was proud of myself because I took the time, and I'm going to make this confession because I am who I am, but I was proud of myself. I took the time to look that up as well. And one of the things that kind of popped in my head when I heard those same statistics is that it also attracts an educated, intelligent workforce, which to be attractive to business, we need to have that workforce here in Fraser. That's good for us to have that. And so I was excited. I was doing my research for these questions as much as I could fit in. And I understand that families are like that. We all are trying to fit this in. But I encourage everybody to take a look and just, get that information from another source of what the library can do for your property values. Because the bottom line is whether I walk into this building ever, and I have donated my time here, and I have come into the library when my kids were little. In fact, I actually got locked in the older building. We were in the reading circle, and we had to go out the fire escape because all the doors were locked. So
Oh dear.
they didn't know we were up there. That was years ago. But whether you ever walk in here, know that having a library in your community is a true value to you for your overall community health and well-being. It's like people look at you and think you're still doing well because you still have a library. That's an important draw to bring families in.
Yes.
To build our revenue base. If people aren't coming here to live, then we got a bigger problem than saving the library.
And I also want to point out that even people like you who say you don't really use the library much anymore, if you have a library card, works as a discount card to a lot of places around the community. You can get discounts at the Fisher Theater, the Detroit Lions, the Detroit Pistons, U of M Athletics, the Detroit Zoo, and a bunch of restaurants and businesses around the area like Freddy's, Buffalo Wild Wings, J. Baldwin's, and just loads of them. It's all on the library website. So even if you never use your library card to come in here and take out a book, we can still provide a financial advantage.
Isn't that nice? That's really good to know. I didn't know that because I'm one of those there. One of those things. That's good to know. Very good to know. That's what I was I'm hoping we get that across with this little back and forth. That's exciting to know. That's good. I know that the library provides a lot for young families. I have seen it when I come in here to do face painting in the day when I did that, or come to the White Owl. You see the young families that are really using the library, and to me, that in itself is a value because it teaches self-discipline in here because they have to be quiet. It teaches respect. Those are qualities that the children learn outside of their homes still are important in their whole public life.
Sure, they learn how to take care of public property.
Yes.
They learn some responsibility. They take a book out. They have to take care of it. They have to get it back on time.
Correct.
Yeah.
And yes, our children are on the internet and things like that, but they don't learn those other social skills, and the library does provide a portion of that too. So, and it supports young mothers and fathers because they teach this to their kids, and then they bring them someplace where it's expected of them too. So that helps support them up too.
Actually, our largest group of library users are between the ages of 25 and 45.
This is a big one.